We sell your items online. Go ahead, declutter your life. Have a yard sale or let eBay do the work. From the thrift store shopping to that wallet popping. There are two things in life that are certain. Deathpiles in Texas. Deathpiles in Texas. With Derek Everitt and Adam Beesley.
All right, Mr. Dizzle, you ready to do a little work?
A little.
I know it's took off early today. Come enjoy some podcasting time. We got a good show we just put in for the Halloween special. Not gonna give too many details. Gonna have to wait for that one, but not gonna lie, got a little scared.
It was a good one.
You know me, I don't like that scary stuff. So
If I haven't got scared, we did something right.
I don't like getting into that realm. I guess growing up where I did by the Area 51, knowing that it's real, that's not a conspiracy. I lived in a morgue while I was in college. There were definitely some weird things that happened there. Don't like going into that scary. I'm going to tell you the two things that I saw that really kind of spooked me out, and you're probably right up the alley. I used to go camping a lot. I would go camping all the time with one of my friends and a couple guys would go camping. But the Blair Witch Project.
That's it, yeah.
Yeah, that one pretty much, I saw a little, turned it off. I don't need being paranoid while I'm in the woods. And Pet Cemetery. It's another spooky one. Saw that at a friend's house. Of course, we don't watch this kind of movie. I didn't. Go to the friend's house, and yeah, that scared me white as a sheet.
So that's pretty much, the picture keeps coming together. We've been doing this for years, and every now and again we'll get a few more pieces, and everyone says, why is Adam like that? Because you'll say something like the never-ending story or some things like that, and people are like, is he kidding? I'm like, no, that's real. But when you say things like, the Blair Witch Project, going out in the woods, or a young kid watching Pet Cemetery, those add up to why, in Nevada, you're seeing weird things in the sky all the time.
Aliens, let's call it what it is. Aliens. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even like thinking about it now.
At least you weren't abducted that we're aware of.
Not going to get into that.
You weren't probed or anything like that?
Not going to get into the may or may nots that have happened.
So now you go home and you watch some football and some happy show tunes. I don't know what you were in New York watching plays. You find your own sources of entertainment.
Yes, you do. And went to New York. Man, that's people are interesting. I like to travel. I really do. My number one thing, I travel for food.
We'll travel for food.
We'll travel for food. And I made a point of sending the text group, some of the items that I was partaking in. I love different kinds of food. Really, really enjoy it. But we went to New York. Our big fan of Hugh Jackman. So we went and saw The Music Man, and about a guy on a side hustle, selling some trombones. But man, it was a good show. I'm not this first time I've ever been to Broadway. I'm not a play kind of guy.
So there's some guy selling tromboners on the side of the road?
Yeah, that's the whole story of The Music Man.
Oh, I thought you meant on the actual street.
Oh, no.
Some guy outside of the theater.
No, that was the spiel of the show. Guy would, in the late 1800s, 1900s, he'd travel different places selling trombones and boys band uniforms, and then he'd run off, kind of before he'd take his money and run.
And Wolverine was doing it.
Yes, and Wolverine and P.T. Barnum was doing it. So it was a good time, man. I really enjoyed it.
Well, you had some interesting food. Now, you were in New York City, New York State.
Yes.
Some people call it New York, New York, New York, New York.
Yes.
NY, the Big Apple. There's a lot of people trying to make side hustles there.
I love people's ingenuity, and I usually reward it. I didn't really want to get into the details, but you basically led me down the path.
That's what I do best.
That I've got to indulge you in a story. Can I indulge you in a story?
The people, the five that still listen to us, that's what they want.
There's a lot more than that. There on Times Square, that's kind of where we stood, Broadway. There are a lot of people down there got their side hustle. You got people wearing the one-off kind of, B-team Mickey Mouse suits, the Sonic the Hedgehogs. You get some people that are, creative with writing on body parts that, they like to have people pay to have pictures with. And there were some guys hustling, selling digital CDs and digital music. And, they approached pretty aggressively. I didn't feel like I stood out, but I definitely stood out. What I come to learn is people that enjoy the arts, the theaters, they're not usually walking down Times Square. So they knew that what I was there for, and they knew that I had probably some dollar bills in my wallet.
Did you have the playbills in your hand and a big shirt on you? How did you stand up that you were going to the theater?
No, I had some nice clothes on. I was well dressed. I wasn't in my tuxedo. That was out for the dry cleaning. But I was definitely well dressed.
I knew you were either preaching religion or you were going a businessman or going to a play.
You could kind of tell, people stick out. So, anyways, he knew I had some dollar bills, and he approached me, kind of told me what he was doing, and made some innuendos that I had to shake his hand, or I may or may not have had some prejudice towards different people, which I don't.
Did you take out your sanitizer and sanitize your hand afterwards in front of him?
No, I did.
See, that would have proved his point. So I'm backing him up here.
Oh yeah, no.
It sounds like you passed the test.
Oh yeah. But he made some prejudicial comments that I felt like were not warranted. But he knew what he was doing, and he knew.
Pitch.
Yeah, he had a pitch, and I pulled it out, and I pulled the trick that you taught me. I always have in my secondary part of my wallet. I have money tucked away in there, so when you have to open it up, there's only so much that shows. And I had $22. So, I gave the guy a $20 bill, kind of, felt that was more than enough. And there was another guy said, well, don't you got money for me too? And I says,
I'm going to start hanging out in your parking lot and just hassle you for $20.
I had $2. And he said, well, I'll take that. And I'm like,
I'm sure you would.
So he took that. And luckily, I had, some other funds elsewhere, but that's all I had that night. So
what did you get in return for this service?
Some digital CDs, and I scanned it, and it didn't work. So
I'm shocked. I'm shocked.
So needless to say,
did you get picked the CD, or was it their music?
Oh no, it's their music.
Oh,
no, it was their quote unquote artist. And
see, I would have said, well, I'm really into Conway Twitty and Loretta Lynn and this kind. Do you guys cover any of those tunes? And I say, well, fortunately, I'm not. I'll give you a couple bucks, but I'm really not into that kind of music. So good luck.
And I made the mistake. I really meant to get fives and singles because that's just kind of what happens. And I should have done that.
Your wife was with you.
Yeah.
So when you get fives and singles, you usually might be heading to other establishments or something.
I meant to
slip your mind
to give to people. So that guy had his pitch.
Yes, to give to people.
There are other people with other pitches, people selling mangoes. There's a lot of ways to make money, and it's all about you got to lure people in. You got to get people in. There were guys, selling purses. There were people painting pictures. There was a really cool one where a guy, he would basically take a clay model of your face and make one of those. And I thought that was one I'd never seen before. Didn't have the pleasure of seeing any. There were some street performers in Times Square, some guys that were doing flips and everything. And there wasn't any, quote on, a lot of people asking for money. There were guys that would dress up in suits, say, I need to smoke weed, give me money. I guess that's a thing nowadays. Didn't see any great musicians, street performers, people that used to.
You have to get on the subway for that kind of thing.
We ventured on the subway quite a bit and didn't see any.
Nothing, though.
Maybe we were just, I guess we were heading to the theater, so that kind of thing doesn't happen. I don't know.
Well, you probably had they probably have the time of, well, these people are more well refined. They're not going to like my subway tunes.
So you're a New York guy. I know Big Denny, he spent some time there, several years there, maybe on an ecclesiastical vacation.
When he was there, Times Square was a little different.
What do you mean by that?
Well, prostitutes and peep shows.
Oh.
Yeah. They cleaned that part up.
Well, there was one kind of across from there, right across from the Wicked Theater, and it was closed, but it still had.
The Wicked Theater was a whole different production when he was in town. I'll have him tell you someday some stories.
Oh boy,
He'd love to.
The side hustle, it definitely, there's a lot that goes on there.
So I named this episode Prostitutes and Peep Shows. Do you think we'll get more downloads?
Yes, the answer to that is yes.
I think that's going to happen.
Okay, that's great. You're welcome. So, what about you, buddy? I know that you've got some good stuff going on. It's fall time. What do you got brewing? What have you been working on, buddy?
Well, unfortunately or fortunately, I don't know if you remember last year we were talking about our goals at the first of the year, and I was just going to go all into cards, and I was going to go big into cards, and I was going to wrestling cards and really niche down, and not worry so much about all this other stuff, but really go into cards. And what I didn't know at the time was we were going to have a recession and what was going to happen with the economy and cards in general. I mean, we got really heavy there with everything that was going on the last couple of years to how people are going back to work. And the cards have slowed down a little bit, or, depending on the month, a lot bit. But there's still people buying and selling and trading cards. It's just not the all-time high that it was. And with a couple months ago, they had this thing called the National Convention, and PSA was doing a special. I don't know if we talked about this on the air or not. I hijacked Adam's account, and I sent in quite a few cards.
Hundreds.
Quite a few cards.
More than 10, less than 15,000.
So the other day, I have an alert from my credit card, and I look and I said, well, that's a lot of money. Somebody has stole my credit card, and they're going on a spending spree. Man, I can't believe, I need to go, this is fraudulent. Okay, I don't know what's going on here. And I look it up, and it's from Collector's Universe for PSA, and I thought, oh, that was yourself. Oh, you just frauded yourself. And, I thought, so I got some cards back my own self that just came back. They've been there for a couple of years, and I've been listing those up, maybe about a year. And I've been listing those up. I'm about halfway through. And I got some other stuff from SCG. I'm about halfway through. And usually I'll go home and do like an hour or two a night. Maybe on the weekends, if I got ambitious, I'll do a couple hours, and sometimes I won't. And so I thought, well, that took a couple of years for this match to get through, or a year. I thought, this stuff going with the card show, man, I probably got 9 months to a year to save up and pay for this bill and kind of put it away. And I did put it on my credit card because it's Adam's account, but I'm like, I don't want, you know how that all gets weird and stuff. So, anyways, I didn't want to put you out for thousands of dollars necessarily. And sure enough, PSA got their crap together and got it back within what?
Oh, it was less than 2 months.
Yeah, 2 months, less than 90 days. And so now I got, a bunch of cards that came through, which are some great stuff. I mean, there was some good stuff. And some of my tickets, I had some WrestleMania tickets. I have all sorts of stuff. And I got some more coming back. So I got myself into a lot of work is what I've got myself into. The only problem is you're going to love doing my taxes this year because GoDaddy bookkeeping went out, and I haven't kept up with the new thing at all. So that's all a mess. I've spent a lot more than I've made this year. I'm fairly certain.
Building up that inventory.
I've put out a lot more than I brought in, but hopefully long term, get this stuff listed and it will sell. Obviously, if I could double my money, I'm talking thousands of dollars. I'm thinking I could do more than that, but it's going to be a long term. I think, wrestling cards and stuff have picked up this year. It's been a really weird year. I haven't done Whatnot in about a month because I have some weird cough thing. Like I've had this cough for like a month that kind of comes and goes. And if I talk a lot, it just kind of kills it and sets me back. So maybe that's why I haven't been as amped to do some podcasting, even though I give you a hard time about it too. But the Whatnot's been doing good. Wrestling cards been doing good. Selling stuff online. It's just always this process. But right now, people are really into buying secondhand clothing and stuff again, not just because of the economy and stuff, but this new generation, I think they call them Zoomers now. I think that's the official term.
Zoomers.
The Zoomers are really into this kind of thing.
I get it. Zoom and then making fun of the boomers.
Yeah, the Zoomers.
Wow.
They're really into like buying secondhand clothes. They're really into like going to thrift stores and shopping, and they're all about the economy and all this kind of stuff too. You're young and ambitious, or not the economy, but the
environment.
The environment. That's the I was looking for. And which is great things, and but that helps people like us that were selling clothing. And I still got some of that stuff up in the store and stuff, but I just think the year I decided to take off and focus in one direction, this other one's kind of booming and blowing up a little bit more. But you can always be chasing that. So that's what I've been doing, Adam. I guess that's what I've been doing.
Zoomer.
Well, you've been off to New York. I've been I've been thinking, who's putting cars on my credit card? That's more than I pay for automobiles. And boy, I'm gonna make some big transfers because, it got a little deep.
You got some.
If anyone wants a WrestleMania 1, 2, or 3 ticket, I think I can make my money back. Almost on those 3 things alone. So
you got some good stuff. I know, like I said, Halloween's upon us. You know, Thanksgiving. Not sure when there's going to air. I'm still fascinated. Anything blow molds like these Halloween, Christmas blow molds. If you ever see one out in nature, watch that.
Steal it.
I did not say that.
No, what you should do is go to the door. Like, don't steal things, obviously, but go to the door and say, "Hey, that's really cool. That reminds me of my grandma," or whatever. Would you like? I got $22 in a digital CD here. Would you like to make a trade? And if they don't, you accuse them of being racist or prejudiced against whatever you may be.
That's.
Also, you don't like old weird white men, huh? That's what I'd have to say.
Bearded,
bald,
white men,
heavy, husky.
Yeah, you make those innuendo. So those are always big items. You always talk about it after the fact, after Halloween hits. There's some rock bottom prices that usually happen, as it leads up to it in a week and, 10 days and 15 days after. That's when they go from 10, 20, 30, 90% off. I mean, you're going to find some stuff, and if you got a place to put it up and sell it next year.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to list it and have it up year round because, there's different things out there, especially with Christmas, but a lot of people love Halloween. And you got a lot of cosplay stuff going on throughout the year with, these conventions, whether it's Comic-Cons or different things like that.
In New York, there was one while we were there.
And people dress up. Oh, I should have sent you over New York Comic Convention.
That's where
That's where a lot of good items were there that you could resold. A lot of exclusives.
There were stuff there. But you brought up a point, which I'm glad, because I wanted to hit on it today. I just really think that Halloween has become super big. I think the realm of the internet, because if you think about it, like, when we were kids, 25, 30 years ago, that kind of, 35 years ago, into that realm, the best costume was how good of a seamstress or imagination your mom had. You
had that crappy mask with the elastic if you were rich and lucky.
Yes.
And it snapped.
Yes.
And it never worked.
Yeah,
it's held in by a stapler.
Yeah, if you got a Ninja Turtle mask, that was really your only opportunity.
Some weird piece of like plastic that you're wearing around is like it was painted to look like a Ninja Turtle, but it would rip and make you sweat.
Hey, Barb did her best. She does amazing at what she did.
Nothing against Barb. No.
But what I'm saying is that's all you really had. And there weren't, all these opportunities because stores didn't carry that kind of stuff. Christmas was always the be-all, end-all. That's why they called it Black Friday. That's what happened. Now the realm of the internet, people can buy weird stuff anytime they want. And as you're talking about, cosplay has gotten really big. All these even different opportunities of one-off, stars that, wasn't necessarily the mainstay, the thing that people wanted. Now it could be the third and fourth and fifth most popular character on a show. You can buy that stuff and hopefully you're selling it because people want it.
Yeah, there's people that collect all sorts of stuff. And, it like if somebody wants to carve a jack-o'-lantern in July, I don't know where they got the pumpkin.
Yeah.
But if you have the carving kit on eBay or Mercari or Poshmark, wherever you're selling, Amazon, you're probably the only person with it at that point. It's kind of name your own price. Now, if you pick it up on discount for 80 to 90% off and you're picking it up for $1, a couple dollars, you put up there for, $30, $40 because you're the only one. I mean, that's not a bad place to be. Now, you're going to have to adjust it when it gets more close to October and that kind of thing. But I don't know if you remember, but kind of when I got started, my family always thinks I'm a little crazy on some of these things I get myself involved in. And,
you are.
And my dad, who we've talked about a couple times in this podcast now, was kind of like, like you can't make money out of it. Like, who's going to buy this kind of stuff? And he has a collection of things. He's kind of got different things that he's acquired throughout the years. And he had a woofy whistle. Do you remember?
Oh, I remember the woofy whistle story.
He was cleaning out. Used to set up like farm stores, kind of thing, feed stores, and they were cleaning out a building or something, and they found this old box of candy from like I don't remember 40s or 50s or something like that, the wax candy. and started eating some of it and just chewing on it because that's what you did, I guess. And I said, you put some of that on eBay, or we could sell that for you. And he's like, who's going to buy that? Because he kept one.
Yeah.
Just for nostalgia to show people, like, when's the last time you saw one of these? And it was like from the 19-whatevers, the woofy whistle, he called it. It was like a little flute made out of wax for Halloween. And people, I remember people come over to the house and they're like, I haven't seen one of those in ages. And he's like, yeah, I got one, or whatever. And so I'm like, let's put that on eBay or something. And I don't remember what it went for, but it was hundreds of dollars. And it was like, kind of when I was first getting into doing this a little more seriously. He said, no way somebody bought that for that. They're going to want their money back. And I'm like, well, let's ship it to them. And it was going to Phoenix. And it was like in July or June, or it was a hot month. So it was 100-degree weather going to Phoenix to a P.O. box. And I packaged it very, very well. And we sent it down there and we got good feedback. And I think it was upwards. I think it was closer to $200, but I can't remember the exact number. Anyways, that was a Halloween item, vintage Halloween. This has been, several years ago, and that kind of thing. Just people love it. I mean, they love Halloween. They love costumes. They love dressing up. Like Adam said, when we were younger, it was kind of just something kids did. Now people have full-blown Halloween parties. They're adults. They're having parties in high school and college, and people want to have multiple costumes. Like, you just don't dress up for one thing on one night. People will have, a week's worth of different costumes. And, if you can pick them up at a discount and save them for a year or whatever, put them up on eBay. I mean, you might be selling them for the manufactured retail suggested price on the item itself. But you didn't pay that. So, that was one thing I did early on. I'd go in and kind of swoop up the Harley Quinn was kind of popular. And I'm trying to think of some more of the costumes at the time that were really popular, but I'd go swoop them up and put them up on eBay, and every year they'd be good sellers. I just have a tote that I kept them in, and nothing's stopping you from doing the same. So don't be afraid to hit the Spirit store or the Walmart or whatever here, a couple days after the event and see what's left over, because there's a lot of money in Halloween.
Man, I think you're onto something about being that guy selling off cycle. These sale prices, a lot more of them were more back in August and July than what they are right now. I think that people come out of the woodwork and the woodwork and sell those items. But yeah, there's anywhere from 25. There was one on here sold for 150. So there's money in vintage Halloween. Let's just put it at that, D-Roy.
Oh yeah, there's how there's like the Santa villages and stuff that people will put up.
Oh yeah,
they have those with Halloween. Oh, and if you can find them, they go for good money.
Pretty couple of pennies, huh, D-Roy?
Yeah. So,
well, there you go. There's a little tips, some advice. I know we've kind of bounced around. We're always into a little death, little piles, little taxes. Last thing, get your stuff in line. We're in October, November. Get your items listed.
Your affairs in order.
Get your affairs in order, because there's going to be a financial awakening, D-Roy. And that being said, there are two things in life that are for certain, buddy.
That would be death piles and taxes.
We're well within our rights to use this song. We're aware the preaching copyright is wrong. With lots of dedication.